You need to have a look at them now to be able to answer, or what do you want to do? What's your...
Honorable Co-Chair, as a factual matter, we are of the considered opinion that there was no violation of any constitutional provision. There was also no violation of any subsidiary legislation. And we will educate ourselves with the facts as disclosed by the documentation in the possession of the honorable member, but it will not change our opinion.
So what is the exercise in giving you the documents? It wouldn't change anything. So the point I was making is that you want it now, you want the documents now, or...
Yes, we would like to see it, but he can go on with his questioning. Yes, but for the specific answer to the question that was put to the Honorable Minister, he has already explained. And at the risk of sounding repetitive, I would say that the payments were lawful because they were authorized by an appropriation. And subsequent to the appropriation, the payments were authorized out of the contingency vote on the specific allocation made for other government business. And the Honorable Minister and the other government obligations. And the Minister illustrated that point when he referred to payments made on behalf of the Black Stars in 2014, as well as the current Qatar delegation. It's a similar situation. We would be hard-pressed to answer that question.
That is well taken, Council. The fact that a violation might have occurred in 2014 doesn't mean that it cannot occur. It should not. That a finger should not be. No, please. Yes. That is an expression of their opinion, right? Very, very well. Honourable members, order. Please, the honourable ministers around the table, I know you are here to support your colleague, but I am pleading with you. Yes. Yes, you are heckling the members of the committee, and that's very unfair. That is very unfair. Please, can we have some order around the table and let the Honourable Okujata Blakwa ask his questions. Thank you, honourable members.
Well, thank you very much, Honourable Chairman, for the protection. The honourable Minister for Finance is still proceeding strongly, and the contingency vote provided for under the Office of Government Machinery. Other government obligations, yes. I have asked the Honourable Minister to let us understand respectfully why, after you have done that, you did not report to this House, as has been the practice, because other government obligations, the Finance Committee and the plenary will approve all of these matters after, and then the new budget for the ensuing year will also receive subsequent approval. How is it that until we intercepted these documents, Parliament didn't know at all that apparently public funds were going into this project, contrary to the initial promises anyway that the Ghanaian people had been told?
Honourable Co-Chairs, it's really not the practice for a line-by-line reporting, except under goods and services, CAPEX, etc. If it is a new approach that you would like to suggest, I think we'll consider it. I think my discomfort was the issue of constitutionality.
So, Mr. Chairman, can the Honorable Minister recall that on the 28th of November 2018, when we debated the 2019 budget, the minority cautioned that, and I quote, this was, I hope Dr. Ayeni doesn't mind me quoting verbatim from what he said at column 2893 of the 28 November 2018 budget. He said in the penultimate paragraph, quote, Mr. Speaker, I have reviewed the budget statement itself, and there is no statement whatsoever which relates to the National Cathedral. In other words, there has been no request for any estimate to be approved by this House for its construction. Mr. Speaker, a number of critical questions may be asked at this point in time because the Honorable Minister for Finance mentioned it in his speech, but it is not contained in the budget statement. I would want to ask 4 critical questions about this budget statement. Mr. Speaker, the first one is, what is the value of the land to be provided by the state? I'm aware 21 townhouses that were built to house our judges will be demolished for the purpose of the construction of the National Cathedral. Mr. Speaker, another critical question is, what is the cost of running the Secretariat for the entire duration of the construction of the National Cathedral? How much is the seed money to be provided by the state? And on and on. There were no answers. Does the Honorable Minister recall this debate? And is he able to tell us that the practice now for such important projects, national edifice, some estimates putting it at $400 million, that he's going to always hide it under contingency till it is completed?
Before the Honorable Minister answers, did you say that there were no responses to what you...
Yes.
Can I have
there were no responses at all.
Hansard.
Yes, the Hansard of 28 November. So if he recalls this debate, because some people have argued that probably...
No, but he wasn't in the House to have been able to respond. Is that the point?
Yeah, but the convention in this House is that the ministry must be represented during the debate.
It wasn't like a question put to him directly, but it was...
No, during the debate.
The debate. So he couldn't have been there and he couldn't have responded.
Yeah, but does he recall that we raised these concerns?
Let's put that on record. Not that he avoided answering questions. Yeah.
We raised these concerns during the debate. So what we are doing now is not new. Does he recall? And the second part of my question is that, is it a new practice to classify such a major national project, $400 million, under contingency?
Thank you very much. Co-chairs, I think on Tuesday, we were very, very particular about the issues of particulars for this censure to make sure that we work within the remit. The question is one of constitutionality, which apparently we have been able to clear the air on. And now drawing us into a fishing expedition becomes a very difficult thing. I don't think we will be able to finish this. And if it's really a motion of censure of the finance minister, and it is these issues that are directing us to that, I think we need to be a bit careful. So we can certainly update Parliament at any time on these issues. But I think the people of Ghana should know very clearly that the issue of unconstitutional withdrawals did not occur, and we could have ensured that it didn't come. But in fact, I think Honorable Atta, if you look in the Hansard, did mention something about contingency fund anyway. I'm not sure the honorable member as to the issue of value of land, cost of the secretariat, how much seed money, is this a new practice? I'm sure we could have resolved these things outside of the ambit of constitutionality, which is what I've been brought here for. And that is a heavy, heavy charge.
Mr. Minister, I think I keep on assuring you that the question of, we're not here to interpret the Constitution, we're not here to enforce the Constitution. If anything, we are applying the dictates of the Constitution. I think the point is settled. As far as I'm concerned, it's settled. It may be throwing in additional information, but for me, it is settled. The question was that some monies were taken for the purpose of the building of the cathedral. Unless, of course, there's a categorical denial that any monies were taken, then it's an entirely different matter altogether. But if it's admitted that some monies were taken, I think your point is that you took it out of a certain grant, a certain vote. I think you call it other government obligation. That's where you took the money from. You said that that came to Parliament for our consideration and approval. Well, wait a minute. No, I'm not debating you. Yes, I'm trying to make a point yes. I mean, that is the point that you have made. He says that, as far as he recalls, there was some discussion in Parliament along these same lines. You went there, so you'll be able to answer that question. We debated this and raised exactly the questions that he's raising about how much was involved, whatever the money is. Your point, as far as I'm concerned, it's what you made already, and that's what your lawyer said. So the constitutionality argument, it shouldn't trouble us at all. There are modalities. One second. It is the Constitution to take money out of the government, whatever. Constitution provides for how it is done. That, I think, is the constitutionality is talking about. The government, other obligations and whatever, they fall under the same law. And your point is made clear that this is how I took the money. So constitutional arguments don't come in here. My colleague Mesa wants to make a contribution.
Mr. Chairman, indeed, I'm surprised at
I keep talking about feelings of people getting surprised
because I'm very well. I'm making reference specifically to page 134 of 165, and then also page 135 of 165, where the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa posed the question. And if you permit me, I'll read. He says, Mr. Ablakwa, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. On the National Cathedral, Dr. Atta indicated that Article 178 has been breached because there was no authorization by Parliament. I have heard some government communicators say that perhaps the Honorable Minister of Finance can come under contingency and do what he has done. Is that a view you share? Does the contingency fund under our constitutional arrangement allow an Honorable Minister for Finance to do what has happened in this case? And this is a response that Dr. Forson gave. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm not aware that a contingency fund in particular can be used for such a project. The Constitution is clear on how the contingency fund can be used. For the Honorable Minister responsible for Finance to be able to use the contingency fund, he would need the approval of the Finance Committee of Parliament. You would recall that during the COVID-19 era, the Honorable Minister for Finance...
You are out of order. You are completely out of order. The portion that you have read, all right, was a reference to what government communicators have said about the use of the contingency fund. And to be clear, the contingency fund is a specific creature of the Constitution, and there are there are constitutional procedures. And in fact, the Honorable Minister himself has appeared before the Finance Committee when I was present, where he asked for approval under Article 178 of the Constitution, okay, because there are unforeseen expenditures that have to be made, for which provision has not been made in the appropriations bill of the prior year. So please, you are completely out of order. Please.
Chairman,
Can we
respect?
No, please, Honorable Mesa.
Respectfully.
If you will take your turn to ask questions,
if you permit me,
can you clarify? Please. I think there is a determined effort to put hurdles in the way of the Honorable Okudzeto, and I don't think that is fair.
Unfortunate assertion, Chairman.
With respect, Mr. Co-Chairman, excuse me, Sammy, you are a member of the senior and prominent member of the committee. Everything will be done to make sure that you have your say. Don't worry about it. But don't worry. These are legal arguments.